Hello, it's me, Jess. Welcome to my channel. I'm here today with another channeled message. This is a specific message. It might resonate with you, it might not. Okay, so as promised, this is part 2, where Spirit is assisting you in finding a path forward whereby genuine amends can be made with a person that you actually care about very much. I wasn't getting that so much in the first part of this message. Not that I doubt that you care about this person, but it's about so much more than just righting your conscience and making sure that you can sleep at night and look at yourself in the mirror and make sure that you're handling people well. You really, really care about this person in whatever way. For some of you, that's romantic. For some of you, that's platonic. And for others of you, you do just have a great amount of respect and admiration here for this person. But you don't think this person knows that in a real way. Even if you have expressed that, this person, you can sense that they're defensive because you understand you've put an obstacle up between the two of you, or you've made it very hard for this person to receive love overall because this person they've been attacked. This person has learned to move in a very defensive way through the world. And so you know that even if you could get in a room with them and you could express how sorry you are to them, and you can express like that you really do care about this person, it would be like water off a duck's back. Even if they said that they accepted it or something, you know that emotionally, or if you don't know that, Spirit is telling you that's a component here, that is a factor in this, and that's why amends has to be made in a particular way. I'm hearing for some of you here, if this is done in earnest, I can get you in a room with this person. I can get you in a room with this person with no baggage between you, but it's like you've got to take these steps. There is kind of, again, this domino effect that you might not see or you might not understand, but they're saying like this is a potential, this is a possibility where you could have this conversation with this person in a way where they can actually know that, and it would be healing for this person. I'm just seeing this person kind of shaking and crying and just like letting their walls kind of like fall down, and that needs to happen. In its own time, because obviously you don't want that to happen too quick or anything. It could hurt this person even more. They're really on a spirit. This person is heavily defended spiritually. Okay, so in the first part of this message, we were talking about like an overview of the entire situation. And we were also talking about the specific steps that need to be taken on the physical. That is a part of this. This is a part of the baggage not being there, because you're not just going to say words to this person. There's going to be a chain of events put into motion whereby something here is moved in the physical. Something's going to happen in the physical that's going to make your sincerity known, because you are going to have been a part of whatever this is, and that's going to be made known to this person. That's the vibe that I'm getting. And again, I don't know how it's going to get there. Spirit is just saying, listen, you got to trust me. You got to put certain events in motion here, whereby things can be actually righted in the physical. So that's one part of it. Also, your guides were emphasizing in the first part, which I'll put in the description if you want to revisit this, or if you found this message first, that they said, thank you for no longer minimizing this. They're helping you to understand that this situation is carrying a lot more gravity with it than you originally realized. And that's where they want to jump off here on the soul level, because that's what we're going to talk about in this second part, is how to make amends on this inner level, this soul level, because when we're actually sorry and we actually lead with compassion, the ways in which we hurt people, we try to learn from that and integrate that in ourselves so we're not making those same mistakes. That's a part of the forgiveness process. They're saying our cultures don't really emphasize that in modern times, but like that really is a part of the forgiveness process. And that's what they want to walk you through. So in order to do that, the first thing they're saying is the battle between good and evil is very much real here on the earth level. And what you experienced, yes, there were certain things going on physically, but this was a type of spiritual warfare on you. Like on this person, I think you see that, but like also on you. You also need your justice here in this situation. Your soul needs to be brought back into alignment here. And this is like on an inner realm, okay? Because it's like whenever you turned on this person, they're using that word very specifically, turned. Okay, I think I get it. So like, okay, when you turned on this person, or when you turned your back on this person and their suffering and whatever was going on here, something here happened that they're trying to help you understand. Because it's like before that moment, your actions, you were in compliance and working with the good agenda is what I'm getting. Not just good forces, but like bringing about, like, I'm not saying you're a perfect person, but like you were bringing out like good outcomes in the world, and maybe in this situation specifically. But then when you were convinced, and I can see here you were turned, and they are saying that there were like dark tactics of the dark arts. There was a lot of dark energy like thrown at you here. This was like a lie, some kind of gossip, I feel that, and you're starting to realize this too, that you were like manipulated, or you fell right into this manipulator's hand, which is why they're saying you also need your own justice here in this situation. But this person noticed something in you that they reached in and they kind of like used. And I feel like they tried to make you feel that this person was opposing you in some way, or that this person was your enemy in some way. In reality, this person was opposing wrongness. They were opposing evil. And because of that, they were opposing this manipulator. And I told you in the first part that this manipulator tried to go at this person. They thought they were an easy target, and they thought they were going to be a pushover in some way. And when this person proved not to be, they had to go towards people around them and weaponize weaknesses that they perceived in them, whether those are physical weaknesses, like maybe, hey, you need a little cash, I'm going to give you a little cash to just do this like really horrible thing, or inner weaknesses, insecurities, something there, or ignorance, things that they knew you didn't know, and therefore they could play in that space. They could make up something here, right? So they took advantage of that in order to, I'm watching them fan a flame in you. They wanted to fan some kind of negative emotion, envy, anger, and now I'm seeing a dog like foaming at the mouth here. So they were fanning that up to where it blinded you. All you could see was whatever that flame was that this person was really stoking in you. I just heard competitiveness, competition. Maybe they were told you this person was in competition, or I don't know, trying to incite a competition. I don't know. That's not what this person was doing though. But that flame got so big that it blinded you. That's all you looked at. So you stopped deploying the tactics you have learned that are aligned with the light. They're showing me Libra. They're showing me balance. Libra is an air sign. So this is being fair and balanced. Wait. Let's all not lose our heads. Equanimity. Let's stay balanced. What's really going on here? Asking pointed questions. Being committed to fairness and cooperation. So they're saying whatever happened here, it impaired your empathy. It impaired your empathy, and you were no longer leading with your heart. You were no longer being led by a desire to cooperate and to cooperate with fairness and to make sure everybody's treated fairly, and that before you act, because we're all responsible for our actions, this is karma, you have an obligation to know the truth to whatever degree you can know the truth. You, at the very least, you have an obligation to deploy certain tactic here to try to get at what the truth is. And there's different levels here I can see of people being held to the standard. So in some of these situations, you got professionals here that are claiming certain skills, or they're in certain positions where they've got certain certifications. Those people are held to the highest amount of karma here because they're saying to somebody else, you hire me, I have this skill, I'm approaching it in this way. So I can see there's like a range here of people being held to different standards when it comes to deploying these tactics of the light in order to actually get on board, right? But whatever this is the moment where your soul started to kind of turn. And I can see that it's kind of like marred or like knocked in some way. That's what happened here. And this is a big deal on a spiritual, it weakened you spiritually because you held yourself in a different way on the inside because you no longer knew yourself to be innocent. You no longer knew yourself to be good. Even if you felt this person deserved it, you somehow turned your back against your own virtue, your own principles. There are certain things you just don't do, even if you feel like somebody deserves it. Turn this person into law enforcement if you felt like they did something wrong. There's a path that does not require, like I'm hearing lying, manipulating, like you don't cooperate with that kind of energy. That's what you're learning here. But in this moment you did, and that's when your soul started to align with dark forces. Now, I'm not saying you're evil, and I'm not saying you're irredeemable, and I'm not saying that you intentionally did that. I'm saying this is what goes on here for all of us in the Earth School, right? This is just what happens. So you took some kind of action here, or not taking some kind of action was like what did it. Take that how it resonates in order to turn your soul, and in order for you to declare your allegiance with goodness and being dedicated to truth again, you are being asked to take some kind of corrective action. That's why this is no small potatoes. That's why they're saying, thank you for not minimizing this. It's not a small thing. And they can see that you were betrayed here in this situation by this manipulator. You were complicit in that to a certain extent, okay? Like I can see there was a certain, again, you were victimized, like in its own way, right? So you are also owed your own justice here, because for some of you, that severed you from a person that you love very much. And that's, a part of like the karmic consequences that are kind of adding to this push behind trying to get justice here. Now, the other thing that you will notice, they're trying to get a deeper understanding in you of karma. So they're saying, if you notice, when you betrayed this person, you also betrayed yourself in some way, like it's linked. Your destiny and this person's destiny very much linked. I think you stand on the same things, you stand for the same like principles and stuff. You are more aligned with this person just on a soul level, like you and this person, you have a lot more in common. So when you betrayed them, you betrayed yourself. Now, either that was immense, like instant kind of kickback because I can see you aligned with a manipulator, somebody who is a betrayer in their soul, somebody who does not have scruples about them and really has no bottom as to like what they will or will not do to achieve their own aims. And you may have been convinced not to see this here about this person, but basically they are a betrayer. So it could be that this person, once they got what they wanted from you, they betrayed you just as quickly, or maybe in the same way that they betrayed this person. For others, you got betrayed because you love this person very much, and to see this person hurt and cowed and made low, and I'm just hearing like belittled, betrayed, treated in the way that they were, actually physically hurt you, such as your love for this person. And for others of you, you actually weakened your own position, socially or professionally, because you were convinced that this person was competition for you, or that they were opposing your stability or your success in some way, when in reality, this is the person who had your back. And I feel like you could have been confused because you didn't understand. Like, I'm picturing, I had this English teacher for 2 years in a row in high school, and everybody was afraid of her and nobody wanted her, but I got her the 2 years I could have her, I got her. Okay. And it was horrible. It really, truly was, but I can write my little ass off. Okay. I can. And when I think about the success in my life, being able to structure a thought and a sentence, and then what that's done for me. And she said it the whole time too. And I can tell now, like she was not malintended. She actually was very positively intended, and she really did have my best interest at heart. And I don't think a lot about a lot of the teachers that I've had. I think about her at least once a year, and I attribute some kind of success, or I'm so glad that like I know how to do this, to her. There are things that just kind of come second nature to me now because I put the time in then, and I recognize that. But so many people were saying that she was a B and she was a godsend, and I'm so grateful for her. But you can see how maybe there's something similar going on with this person, where it's like you were convinced that this person was your enemy because they were maybe holding you to a standard, they were teaching you something, or they were being very firm. I can see that this is part of why this person was like chosen for this role. Like, I'm hearing that again. I heard that in the first part. They were handpicked here for this message. And it's just because this person, I'm just hearing they're so righteous, or there's something here. They just stand very firmly in their knowing, in righteous, some form of righteousness here. So you weakened your position, and you might have realized that too late, like that actually the person who did have your back and that would have assisted you in ascending and everything was no longer there, because I'm seeing an intimate like intertwining between your destiny and this person's destiny. Now, let's get into this inner work, this shadow work on a soul level, because your guides want to help you understand there's a lot of gifts that have come from this, okay? So we're going to go back and talk about this minimizing that went on, right? So you were minimizing the situation. My role was like not very much in this, so therefore I don't have to fix this. They're actually linking minimizing, see it for what it is. It was an avoidance. Okay, it was an avoidance. You minimized it because in minimizing it, it took some kind of psychological pressure off of you, and you felt like you were justified, another word we've been using a lot, in avoiding your responsibility here, but also in avoiding taking some kind of corrective action that the spirit was trying to get through to you to take, right? That's the first thing. The second thing is that you were minimizing this actually because you felt guilty. It's actually a sign that you were feeling guilty. So they're saying, learn how to read these signs in yourself. See these things for what they really are. Call them by the right name. This was a psychological defense mechanism, this minimizing. But what it actually was a mask over your guilt. This was actually how it was bubbling up in your system, how you were feeling guilt. Now, this can be corrected. They're saying like, this is why we talk about, journal, meditate, create a safe place where you can be honest with yourself. You're not weird for doing this. You're not a horrible person. We all have to do this. We all have to hold ourselves accountable. But this is where building that healthy relationship with yourself, where you're like, all right, let's hold hands and look at it. We all have to do it. Okay. So that's a part of it here. Understand it for what it is. It's because you felt guilt, or because you felt some level of responsibility here, that you were actually minimizing in this situation. And part of the minimizing was you focusing on action here. You can only minimize this situation if you focus on action and not the hurt that was caused. They were making that distinction. The action and not the hurt that was caused. I'm going to give you an example, okay? Say that... Okay, well, they're giving me two examples, okay? So we'll do both. So one is, say somebody punches you in the face, and then there's an officer that shows up. The officer goes and talks to that person. Then they walk over to you, and they're like, okay, well, he said it's not a very big deal. So it's not a very big deal, and we're going to pack it up and go home. Preposterous, right? Because you don't ask that person. You ask the owner of the face if it was a big deal. You look at the face. Is there swelling? Is something broken? The hurt that was caused is what dictates if it's a big deal or not. And they're saying there's inner hurts, there's inner scars, there's inner bruising that you cannot see, which is why we have these tactics of the light to kind of unearth these things. And you have to care that somebody was hurt, but instead you focused on the action, right? So that brings me to the next example here. They're saying even when you step on somebody's little toe on accident, most of us have just a knee-jerk reaction to say, I'm so sorry, are you okay? And that's what should have happened here. That's the two-step process. I'm so sorry. You're sorry for the hurt. You're sorry because no matter how small, you're sorry that your actions, whether you meant to or not, you're sorry that your actions cause pain. It's validating. You are acknowledging this person's hurt. That's the healing. That's also what's repairing a relationship here. You're managing a relationship and you're making sure the lines of communication are open between the two of you, right? And then you can move on from that well. But instead of doing that, you felt like you didn't owe this person an apology or an acknowledgement or even a check-in, in so much as like, I'm so sorry, are you okay? Because if this person wasn't okay, you've created a space for them to tell you that. Instead, you focused on the smallness of the action. Well, I just stepped on their toe. I mean, and yes, most times when somebody's toe gets stepped on, there's not like irreversible damage, but there are those times when somebody does need to maybe go to the hospital or something, but you don't know if you don't check in. That's a part of like what's going on here. The minimizing is not okay. When it comes to somebody's hurt, that's what needs to get acknowledged here in this situation. Also, for some of you, that's why an apology is being held out, is because you don't have that even understanding to acknowledge what needs to be acknowledged. So you're just going to cause more hurt and pain here. This person's not going to feel validated. And you're going to go into some kind of explanation about the action. About, well, see, I was holding a tray and then nobody cares. You hurt somebody. That's what you need to focus on. And I am hearing if you are able to get in a room and have an apology with this person, the framework is this. I'm so sorry. I know I hurt you. Are you okay? And there is space at the beginning and end of that sentence. You can have that conversation just saying, can we talk about what happened? Because I feel like a lot of lines got crossed. I just want to make myself seen too. That's a separate conversation, and you keep it separate from the apology here. But you give this person that, and it stands alone, and you sit in the awkward silence until this person like makes the move, okay? So that's like the minimizing thing. Now, the next part is like doing your own shadow work that is specific here to this situation, which I'm hearing a lot of you have already started. You were manipulated in this situation. How? How were you manipulated? You were either manipulated by your own inner voice. I feel like that's a part of it. And that's remember, I said this in the first part of this, that we were going to talk about how you could have ever believed this or that, because when you look back now, it's so obvious. Your inner world and your outer world are connected. We've tried to talk about this so much on this channel. This is a big thing that I've learned studying psychology, and especially ego defense mechanisms. Ego defense mechanisms, and the way that they manifest, and the little voice inside of our head that uses them, that speaks from that place, it's designed to cause a certain amount of blindness within you. And it plays a psychologically protective function, because sometimes to come in face to face with the effects of our behavior or who we have been in a situation, it could make us not be able to function in our daily lives. Now, that's why we have to do shadow work, because it's not okay to just gloss over something. It might be appropriate in the moment, but we've got to kind of like start taking that down. But you were manipulated. Okay, I think you were manipulated externally, but there was an inner component to this. So what buttons did this person push? Why you? Why did they feel that you were a person that they could trick or believe? I'm not saying there's an answer to this. I'm just saying, like, start doing that digging work. What did they weaponize in you? What did they latch onto? What flames did they fan up for you? Because like I said, we're all responsible for our actions here. But that's more than just a single step process. Okay, well, I'm responsible for my actions. No, if you're going to be responsible for your actions, there's a whole host of other things that have to be in place. One of them is a good self-reflective process. And you can't be the only person in the room that doesn't see your own weakness. Because just like this person did, they're going to reach in, push your buttons, and then whip you around like you're on a leash. And you can't have that. That's what being responsible for your actions is. And I'm hearing like this. To fall is no shame, right? This is showing you what needs to be fixed. So they're just saying whatever you assess you did wrong specifically and how that was able to come about, really take ownership and responsibility for fixing that. Like that is your work. This is your spiritual step program. They're saying this is like a step program. They're trying to walk you back to the light here. And for some of you, maybe you were under the influence of something here and it's like, man, I really do need to get clean. But understand that's what you need to take ownership and responsibility of, or whatever this is. For some of you, I'm hearing, I didn't know how to have the conversation. I keep talking about like, do you have the skills to like actually get to the bottom of this? Maybe you don't. Maybe you need to take a communication class or learn about like emotional intelligence. But whatever it is, do take that on. Take that like really under your wing. And that is really what I'm seeing here in terms of making amends, is like going through that whole inner process. And definitely if you're able to get into a room with this person, just listening and understanding that this person was wronged and not taking everything personally. Okay, I'm hearing the 4 agreements and you might want to read that book. I love it. I love that book. I read that book once a year, or at the very least, I just go over the list, right? And one of them is never take anything personal. So much of what other people do is not about you. Now, we're dealing with a person who's been hurt here. So if you're really, really ready for this person to kind of rebalance things, you got to listen, and you can't take anything personal, because this person's not trying to wound you with what they're saying. They're trying to get it out of them. And they're trying to be understood for how they felt and like how they perceived your actions, whether they were true or not. So don't interrupt this person and just don't, yeah. The other one is, while you're doing this, please be kind and compassionate to yourself. That brings us to another one of the 4 agreements, which is like always do your best. But the subnote of always do your best is that your best is going to change on any given day. Because if you're sick versus healthy, then you're going to have more or less energy, right? Like if you're not feeling well and then all of a sudden you get something dropped on your lap and maybe you fumble the ball, I mean, you're going to mess up sometimes. It's not about being perfect. It never was. It never was. Okay. So, it's just about, I don't know what it's about. It's about having the right intentions, being dedicated to making sure those intentions are coming across in the world to whatever you can. So that's all I think I have here for this pile. I hope that this is okay. And I hope that even though I'm the messenger here, and please understand that I'm just the messenger, okay? I'm in a meat suit the same as you. Like, I am not a perfect person, and I know that I'm not, but I try to do the same thing for myself. I'm not always perfect. I do have helpful people in my life that I trust to reflect me back in a healthy way and to give me my messages and stuff. Like when I need to, some of them are tarot readers online. My husband is one of them. I have friends and I have family in my life that I really trust, and I'm fortunate to have that. I hope you have that too. And I'm just trying to be a part of that support system for you. I'm not trying to point fingers and act like I'm blameless here, because I'm not, okay? And I know sometimes when we have these difficult conversations, it's a part of that ego defense mechanism to just lash out and be like, well, you're not perfect. Just notice how that is, you're not staying focused on what needs to stay focused on. It's an ego defense mechanism by which you can take the psychological pressure off by focusing on someone else. Okay, I got my issues too here, but this is a situation that needs righted, and we need to focus on that. And we need to not follow the stick that our mind and our ego specifically throws. And there's a famous parable, and I'm just going to say that, and then I'm going to wrap this up. That meditation, which some of you might be called to meditation, it's about honing in our focus, so that when the mind throws the stick, we're not like the dog that chases after it. Instead, we're like the lion that sits and still remains focused on the one who threw the stick. The mind is the one that throws the sticks, okay? So yes, there might have been a betrayer on the outside that just weaponized and is making you aware that there potentially is a betrayer on the inside. And it's nothing you should be intimidated by. This is the work. This is the work. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. If that resonated, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Bye.